Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary system, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. That is the first referral about this subject matter. And in the purport, Prabhupada said, the Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning. And similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. And the second part is where we are reading now, which is scheduled incarnation. In that portion, first Canto, chapter 3, is to establish Krishna as the supreme personality of God. And before doing that, all about 24 incarnations were mentioned, one after the other in series. And Vamana Dev was mentioned. And here, it is scheduled incarnation and the activities they perform. In the purport, Prabhupada has given us personal assignment for personal application and for preaching application. That will go read Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, from chapter 15, except for chapter 16 through 22. All is about Vamana Dev, Bali Maharaj, and devotional service and reciprocations of Krishna. And if anybody intends to discuss the topic, why bad things happen to good people and why good things happen to bad people, you will get a lot of material to express your concept from these very 7 chapters. And in the purport, Prabhupada opened by saying that Bali Maharaj conquered all the planets of the universe by rightful possession. This is a very good inspiration for people who aspire to achieve, aspire to accomplish, aspire to conquer, and aspire to establish. And if you read about the story of Bali Maharaj, you see that it is a story of from grass to grace. Bali Maharaj, in the fight with the demigods, was comatose by Indra. He had near-death experience. But he was relocated to the Himalayas where a Sukracharya revived him with the Sanjivan mantra and revived all other demigods that were in casualty in that battlefield. That is the first benediction he got, the blessings of the Guru. And that is a lesson for all of us, that we should be thinking of accomplishing anything only when we have been able to obtain the mercy of the spiritual master. And that is why that word Kankaruti Vachalam Pangam Langaya Tegirim Ya Kripatwam Hamvande Shi Guru Dinatarina. By the mercy of the spiritual master, impossible things become possible. Rough roads become smooth. The dumb can speak louder than an orator. The blind can count stars in the sky, and the lame can climb mountains. This is the nature of the blessings of the spiritual master. Not only was Bali Maharaj blessed by his guru, but he also got the unanticipated blessing of the Brahmana. The Bhrigu descendant Brahmanas favored him by performing yagya of conquest on his behalf. And because he was favored also by Brahmanas, he became so potent, powerful, that he now launched attack at Indraprastha to conquer the kingdom of Indra. And by doing this, he intended a conquest by war. But when Indra saw the intensity of his preparedness, the setting of his attack phalanx, he did not think of going to confront him, unlike the Indra, that when the demigod had fight with the demons, he was very voracious, very ferocious, and he was killing in all directions. But this time, with all of his equipment, his astras, he could not confront Bali because he saw that something big was coming. And what did he do? Just like Bali got the blessings of his guru, Indra also went to Brihaspati, his guru, and asked the guru, see, just like Duryodhan was telling Bhishma Dev in the Bhagavad Gita, see how the army of the Pandavas has been expertly arranged by your disciple. So Indra went to Brihaspati and said, wow, that Bali has come and is just out for conquest. What should we do? And the guru, he was anticipating, maybe guru would say, you fight for your right. But the guru has foreseen that this is the time of reaction for the demigods. So he told them, just find somewhere and hide yourselves. Even if you decide to fight, you cannot defeat Bali. So go incognito, hide yourselves, exiting your kingdoms. And if you look at this aspect of payback time, you see that it is karmic. And in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse 16 and 17, Krishna mentions Kim Kama Kim Akameti, Kavaya Pyatra Mohita, Tate Kama Pravasyami, Yagnatwa Mokshasi Subha. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, name which you shall be liberated from misfortune. So why should misfortune come to Indra after he has conquered the demons in a preceding battle? In the next text, Krishna also mentioned, Kamano hyapi bodavyam, bodavyam cha vikramana, akramanascha bodavya, gahana kamano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is and what forbidden action is and what inaction is. In the purport to the preceding text, Prabhupada was mentioning that to act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized persons who are in line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. This system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. The sun god explained it to his son Manu. Manu explained it to his son Ishaku, and this system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standard of actions of Krishna consciousness. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada was mentioning, actually, the principle of religion can only be laid down by the Lord himself. Dhammatum Shaksha Bhagava Pranitayam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like, this is the, what are they called? Mahajans. Mahajan. And if you see the list of the Mahajans, you'll be excited to know the personality that we are reading about. He said authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlad, Bhishma, Sukadev Goswami, Yamaraj, Janaka, and Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj that we are speaking about is also one of the Mahajans. And so all these narrations that are stipulated from chapter 15 of the 8th canto until 22 is just lesson of following in the footsteps of great authorities. And in the continuation of the purport to this text, Prabhupada was mentioning that Bali Maharaj conquered all the planets of the universe by rightful possession. So you can see it was exemplary. Because in Gita, Krishna said, Yad Yad Acharati Shrestha. Whatever a great man does, common men will follow. And whatever standard is set by exemplary action, all the world will pursue. In this very text also, we can see that even Vamana Dev is approving of the bona fideness of the possession of Bali. He didn't usurp. And Prabhupada went further to say, a king can conquer other kings by strength, and such possession is considered to be rightful. So Bali Maharaj possessed all the lands of the universe, and he happened to be charitably disposed towards the Brahmanas. This is another side of him, that he is chivalrous in conquest, and he also charitably disposed to the Brahmanas. The Lord therefore pretended to be a beggar Brahmana, and he asked Bali for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land. The Lord, as the proprietor of everything, could take from Bali Maharaj all the land he possessed, but he did not do so because Bali Maharaj possessed all the land by king's right. And you can see, substantiating this statement from Prabhupada's purport to Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, text number 36. In the purport, Prabhupada said, according to Vedic injunction, there are 6 kinds of aggressors: a poison giver, one who sets fire on the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, one who occupies another's land. This is where our reference is. And one who kidnaps a wife. Quoting the Vedic injunction, Prabhupada said, such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting an ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. Killing of the aggressors, let us take it up to that point, and it is sinless. So because we read earlier in the intricacies of karma, that Dharma is established by the personality of God, Dharma tum shakshat bhagavad panitam. So he specifically is upholding the tenets of religiosity by not taking by force. If we see in the case of Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan, Krishna was stealing from the gopis butter, and it was of great concern to Mother Yashoda. But once the husband of the gopis and the gopis, they caught Krishna and they were calling him thief, thief, thief. And Krishna is saying, I'm not thief, you are the thief. Okay? I'm not thief, you are the thief. So in the same way, when Bali Maharaj's wife was praying to Vamana Dev, he told him that actually he's not taking anything from Bali, but repossessing what belongs to him. Because in the Upanishad, first mantra it mentions, Isavasyam idam sarvam, yakincha jagatyam jagat, tena tyaktwena bunjita, magrida tesati swadanam. Everything, animate or inanimate, that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. So where is the question of anything belonging to anybody? It's just our illusion that makes us think we have acquired this, we're in custody of this is ours for control. And he mentioned further, one should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this is an extension of what we are reading now, that Bali Maharaj, yes, he conquered by legitimate procedure, but everything we own in this material world is only temporary. And if you look at the purport, the translation of the text, it said the Lord, although transcendental to all material mode, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi. Means all the demigods, he surpassed them. Why? Although he has taken birth as the child of the same mother with them, they have maternal relationship. But he's not like them. He's different from them. When Krishna was telling Arjuna in the 4th chapter that I spoke this imperishable science to the sun god. And Arjuna was saying, how can I understand this? By scriptural reference, Vishwasan is older than you. So how can you say you spoke to him? In the same way here now, Vamanadev is taking birth as the son of Aditi, the youngest son, actually. And so the text is saying he surpassed all of them. That is needing some understanding, like Arjuna said. How can I understand? But if you go to Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 29, we can understand. All the other sons of Aditi, all the demigods are called Adityas. And Vamanadev is also coming in the line of Aditya. But he's not like them. Because he said, Savaloka Maheshwara. Bhuktaram Yagyata Prasan Savaloka Maheshwara. That a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerity, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. That's the point to take here. Supreme lord of all planets and demigods. The demigods, the other Adityas, are just demigods of particular planetary system, but Vamanadev is not one of them. He surpassed them in opulence and in his personality. Because in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 6, Krishna was mentioning, Ajopi san abhyatma atma, bhutanam ishvara pisan, prakriti swam adityaya, sambhavami atma mayaya, although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates. This is one quality. The demigods, their body and their duration of stay as demigods is temporary. But he's saying here, I am the Lord of all living entities. I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. He surpassed all of them with this. And in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 18, he himself concludes it by saying, Yasma aksharam atitoham aksharada pichotama atasmi loke vedecha patita purushotamaha. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest. This is the point. So he buttressed the fact he surpassed all of them. Because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as a supreme person. And the Papa Prabhupada said, no one can surpass the supreme personality of Godhead. Neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the supreme personality of God are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that statement still surpass all the qualities of the sons of Aditi. This is substantiated here. It surpassed them. And in the Papa Prabhupada goes further to say that the Lord, as the proprietor of everything, could take from Bali Maharaj all the land he possessed, but he did not do so because he possessed all the lands by king's rights. Yes, by king's right, but it is not his, it is the Lord's. In Psalm 24, David said, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. It belongs to God. But God is just setting a precedence of order, that this is how we should act. And in that purport we read of 136, anyone who acts contrary to this, he is to be slain as an aggressor. And there's no sin incurred by so doing. But the Lord is teaching us the tenets, the ethics of conduct. And so he approached Bali with a proposal by pretending to be a beggar and ask for charity from Bali Maharaj. Now, if we read Bhagavad Gita, you see that the demons, they in every ramification oppose the authority of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so it is not surprising when the guru of the demons, Sukracharya, is opposed to Bali giving what belongs to Vishnu to Vishnu. It is not surprising. And he objected in every ramification. If you read that portion of the Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 17 to 22, all these details are there. And in the end, you'll find out that because Vamanadev, he has made it as a pledge. He pledged to Aditi, I'll recover all the lands and reinstate the demigods. And it is not a new thing. In the days of yore, when Prishni and Sutapa, the Prajapatis, they embarked on severe austerity as husband and wife for thousands of years by demigod calculation. Vishnu was very pleased with them, and he appeared before them and asked them, what is it you want that you are performing this type of austerity? And they mentioned to him, we want a child like you, a child like God. And he said, there's no child like me. They said, well, that is what we desire. That is why we are doing this austerity. And God, being pleased, said, because I'm very pleased with you, I will not only come as your child, but I'll come 3 times as your child, 3 times. So in that very lifetime, he came as their son, and he's called Krishningarva. That is the first dispensation. This Vamanadeva appearance is the second dispensation. So in that first dispensation, Prishni, the wife of Sutapa, beget him. In this second dispensation, Aditi beget him as Vamanadeva. And 5,000 years ago, he consummated the 3rd promise. And he came as a child of Devaki and Vasudeva. So if he made another vrat, or he made a vow here to Aditi that I will recover, he is a covenant-keeping God. He's not a yeoman that says something and does not do it. But this is elixir to stimulate our faith. If we have unflinching faith in God, we should be able to believe that if God says, he does. Just like he said in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, text 22, when he said, Yoga Shamam Vahamyaham. For those who worship me with exclusive devotion, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. There's no gainsaying about it. If you borrow a leaf from that very statement and that scripture, you find it consummated in this pastime. Because the demigod lost their possession, but he said, what they have, I'll preserve. And this is an outing for preserving the possession of the demigods. So he came as a beggar. The same God who owns everything and he's now become a beggar. That was the curiosity of Parikshit Maharaj when he asked Sukadev Goswami, how come he owns everything? He's the supreme person and he's begging. And begging also, not begging something substantial. You know, just look at the picture. He came as Vishnu, just like he came before Devaki and Vasudev. In his Vishnu form, 400 form. Devaki requested him to assume the form of a baby. But in this Vamana Dev incarnation, nobody asked him to. Just before the father and mother, Kashyapa Muni and Aditi, he manifested in his 400 form on his own volition, because he had a mission. He wanted to appear before Bali as a Brahmana. So he assumed the form of a dwarf baby Brahmana. And he went in that very form to the arena of Bali sacrificial arena. If he had gone in his 400 form, it would be conspicuous that, oh, this is Narayan, just like Devaki told him. If Kamsa see you in this form, wow, he's already anticipating a battle. He's killing all the children because he's putting up some defense of not wanting to be killed. If he sees you in this 400 form, if there's anything more than world war, it will happen in this prison cell now. So please assume the form of a baby. And he obliged the parents. But in this lila, he acted out of his own volition and will, not because he has to please anybody. It's just because he has to articulate his, what do you call it, his packaging. So he will meet. And when he got to the sacrificial arena, like we are reading, Sukracharya objected. Sukracharya objected to this proposal because he knew that Vamana Dev was Vishnu himself, pretending to be a beggar. But Bali did not agree to abide by the order of his spiritual master when he understood that the beggar was Vishnu himself. You know, the nature of the Kshatriyas is such that, wow, they feel they have to be recorded in the book of life as the greatest. So when Bali Maharaj heard that Vishnu, or the goddess, the husband of the goddess of fortune, has come to beg me, he said, wow, that sounds interesting. If I give charity to the husband of the goddess of fortune, my name will be in the annals of history, and my feet will be on the sand of time. Wow, there lived somebody who overdid Lakshmi Devi. So, and other circumstances that were already preordained. Vamana Dev told Aditi after the Prayovrata observance that I will bewilder him to make him disobey his spiritual master. Indra faced the fate of minimizing his conduct before his spiritual master when the spiritual master appeared in his kingdom. Because he was enamored by the entertainment of the damsels, he did not stand up to greet his guru, and the guru took offense and blessed him. He will lose everything. That is the karma we are talking about. Why good things happen to bad people and why bad things happen to good people. Very interesting. If you want to be really stimulated spiritually, it is mandatory. You read this 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam and inspire yourself by this pastime. Because in the end, what are we doing all this reading, all of this hearing, all of this chanting for? Is that we also follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas and become stalwart devotees. So Bali Maharaj, in the end, he disobeyed his guru because it is preordained by the personality of Godhead. So when Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, Savasya Chaham Ridhi Sanivisto Mata Smriti Gyan Aponahamcha. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So he bewildered Bali, and he forgot the etiquette that it is an offense, third offense against chanting the holy name, to disobey the order of the spiritual master. So Bali disobeyed the spiritual master, and we can see from this example. But further than this is, if you disobey the spiritual master, if your complexion is, if you are fair in complexion, you can become as dark as engine oil. That is part of the consequences. Condemned engine oil, not even fresh engine oil. Condemned dark engine oil. So it is a very big calamity to disobey the order of the spiritual master. But because Bali has conducted so many devotional activities and he hails from the lineage of devotees, although these three devotees are benediction to the Daitya, the demoniac class. They are benediction, starting with Prahlad, Vilochan, the father of Bali, and Bali himself. They are three benedictions to the demoniac lineage, starting from Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. And it is intended to liberate the whole of that lineage. So when you hear that a devotee, by progress of his devotional act, he can liberate, depending on his status or attainment in course of his devotion, he can liberate 3, he can liberate 10, he can liberate 100 of his generations in the past, in the present, and in the future by dint of devotional service. So Vamana Dev, collecting the pledge of Bali, by this agreement, Lord Vamana cover all the lands of the universe with first two steps. Just 2 steps. And look at the magic. He came as a dwarf Brahmana, and when he was asking Bali for 3 steps, Bali could visualize, observe the footstep of a dwarf Brahmana. How expansive is it? Very short span of space. And he told him, why don't you ask of something better? Ask me for something better. You can ask for anything. Whatever you ask of me, you can get. 3 steps does not amount to anything. But Vamana Dev said, this is what he wants. And he pledged, disobeyed his guru, and he gave it. And as soon as he made that pledge, I, Bali, the son of Vilochan, grandson of Bali Maharaj, vow to give 3 steps of land to this Brahmana. Immediately, Vamana Dev started expanding in size, expanded and become an unimaginable giant. That when he commenced the taking of the steps, the first 2 steps took over the whole universe. All the universe, including the kingdom of the demigod, the lower planet, higher planet, everywhere, and penetrated into the spiritual world. That is how Ganga water came. And he asked, Bali, you know the kind of lineage you hail from. Prahlad was a very faithful devotee to me. Your father also, Vilochan, very faithful. They never fail on their words. So you promised me 3 steps, and everything is gone in 2 steps. So where will I place the 3rd step? Prabhupada was explaining the purport. By this agreement, Lord Vamanandi covered all the lands of the universe with his first 2 steps. And when asked Bali Maharaj where to place the 3rd step, Bali Maharaj was very glad to receive the Lord's remaining step on his head. And thus, Bali Maharaj, instead of losing everything he possessed, was blessed by the Lord, becoming his constant companion and doorman. So by giving everything to the cause of the Lord, one does not lose anything, but he gains everything that he could never otherwise expect. So when we say Mahajan, following in the footsteps of Mahajans, is there anything of pitfall here other than Bali disobeying his guru, which was orchestrated by the personality of God himself to achieve this purpose? But what was sequel in this episode is that Bali lost everything. Bali was tied. Bali was pushed to Sutala. It's humiliating, but Bali never loses his composure. He was not feeling a failure. He was not disappointed. He was excited. And then in this ordeal, Prahlad appeared. His wife came. Brahma came. All the demigods were here. And then Vamanadev went with them to Sutala and became his gatekeeper. This is unequivocal. To do devotion like Arjun, and Krishna becomes your chariot driver. You may not be able to understand this because most of us are not horse riders. But we ply Uber cabs and many cabs, and you can imagine God become your chauffeur, driver, because of devotion. In this case, God became a doorkeeper, a security man at his gate. What could be more than that? Somebody losing the whole material world, and God becomes his constant companion, becoming his constant companion and doorman, always with him. What else are we looking for in devotion than this? So there's no gainsaying when Bali was mentioned among the Mahajans, and their purpose is to teach us how to achieve this ultimate level of self-realization, liberation, and God realization. And so onus is on us. We should not just be hearing, but we should also have the inspiration from what we hear to practice. And it is a guarantee that we can achieve this same feat and more if we become very diligent in our practice. So to sum up, Bali Maharaj in the Navavida Bhakti, 9 process of devotion, he exemplified the last and the 9th, giving up everything for the pleasure of God. And different personalities have represented different aspects of this 9 process. Arjun, Parikit, perfected by hearing, Sukadev, perfected by speaking, and Bali Maharaj, perfected by giving up everything. So different personalities at different times represented this 9 process of devotion. And so it is not like a misleading concept. We are not practicing heresy or we are not misled. We are just being given the opportunity to participate in something that is eternal and natural and originally ours. So every opportunity we have to do devotional service requires that we be grateful. Be very grateful. Every opportunity you have to hear, be grateful. To chant, be grateful. To remember, be grateful. To worship, be grateful. To make friends, be grateful. To pray, be grateful. And if you have opportunity to give everything, be grateful. And being grateful will make God so pleased with us that he will give us the enablement to do more, and he will also be always with us. And Mahaprabhu have mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he said, Yare Deka Tareka, wherever you go, whosoever you meet, teach them about Krishna. Can you teach what you don't practice? No way. And he said, by so doing, you become a guru and save the land. And it's by so doing, you will never lose my companion or my association. You will always be with me. Just like Vamana Dev is always with Bali Maharaj, because Bali taught by exceptional example. Hare Krishna. For those who are more curious, Prabhupada already advised the history of Bali Maharaj and his charity to Vamana Dev is described in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So go there and read more. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu. It's always interesting hearing you speak Krishna Katha, because you bring across lots of references from the scriptures to help elucidate what the topic is. And today you did just that. So as always, we thank you very much. Any devotee with questions, comments, realizations you would want to share, please? You may do so by using the hand emoji or your hand, and you'll be asked to unmute. So we have first on the line His Grace Tribhuvanath Prabhu. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandawa Pranam, Vijvasi. Hare Krishna.
I respectful obeisances to you.
I reciprocate.
And all the assembled devotees hearing your transcendental lecture. Baba, thank you for the analytic presentation. So I really appreciate your reference, the reference you give, especially the one that concerns Upanishad, animate and inanimate, they all belong to the Lord. So one thought that resonates with my mind regarding to emphasis that you give to Bali Maharaj and Vamana Dev is that if we look at it more critically, places like West Africa, whether in the local areas or in the highway, we see that there is always a signboard, beware of 419. Beware of 419. So here we see that the person who owns all these things is teaching us how to be deceptive. So, it's teaching us how to be by deceiving Bali to take what belongs to himself. So what is the message, the Lord is teaching us to be 419?
I like that. Hare Krishna. Very, very, very interesting curiosity, informative and educative. And if we go to the preface of the same Upanishad, you can see Om Punamada Punamidam Puna Puna Udachate Punasya Punamadaya Punameva Vasisyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. So if we understand this act of Lord, which is benevolent, he was benevolent, he honored Bali, and he was benevolent in taking with dignity, not usurping or acting as an aggressor, like we read in that purport of 136. He exhibited his completeness, his perfectness by being very humane, being thorough in his approach. Any which way he does his things, they are perfect. But if we, in our condition situation, want to imitate the activities of God, we are only digging our own grave further. So we should not imitate God, but we should follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. So this text says the personality of God is perfect and complete. And because it's perfect and complete, all emanations from it, such as the phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is complete, is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So in that purport we read, that it says we can see that the difference between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of God is that he is the predominator. We are predominated. So there is no question, there is no way at any time we will become the predominator. So if we want to imitate his act of seemingly deceptively begging for 3 steps, we may be undoing ourselves. So let us be guided by Guru and by the previous acharyas. I wouldn't understand more than this, and I cannot express more than this, and I hope you may have given a leadway to your query. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Tribhuvanat Prabhu, because that was one of the questions I had listed down to ask. And since Prabhuji says he has no further comment than what he's already shared, I think I'll reserve my question on that. And then we'll move to Thakur Prabhu. Please, you'll be on mute.
Krishna Prabhuji, please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances. All
Yeah.
glory to Srila Prabhupada. So sorry I joined late, but I know we know the story of Bali Maharaj and Vamanadev, but each time that you hear a presentation, it seems fresher and fresher and fresher. So as usual, gratitude to the presenters and the person who hosts the presentation. And also, what's interesting that is Bali's spiritual master knew that it was Lord Vishnu, but yet, you understand the mentality and the purity of those 2 personalities. You know that it was Lord Vishnu was saying, hey, you're giving up all these things. So you know that it's the Supreme Lord, and you should know that everything belongs to the Lord. However, it was instructing him not to give up. But, in addition to Bali came in line of Prahlad Maharaj, is that so? Yeah, so there was some devotion service in his line. So it's as usual, I say. And also the various incarnations, when they, different moods, different, sort of situation for us to what you say, get more mercy and give us and some sort of opportunity to return home back to God by engaging in devotion service. So thanks once again for presenter and the presentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for that contribution.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Thakur Prabhu. Anyone else with something to share, please? Sri Ganga Prasad Prabhu, I have written down so many questions from your amazing lecture.
Be kind and spare me.
I don't think we can go over all the different questions I have here. But first question I have is, it's very interesting when you revisited this topic of Shukracharya having this Sanjivani mantra. Generally, especially in West Africa, we have this general proverb that what death holds in his hand, life cannot take away. In other words, if death is determined to snatch somebody from his or her body, then it's very difficult for life to keep holding on to this particular soul. So, but we see here that Shukracharya has the power to undo what Yamaraj is done. If Yamaraj calls somebody, in other words, if somebody dies, this Shukracharya can stop that step and bring back this particular soul back to life. So does that mean that Shukracharya is more powerful than Yamaraj? And what do we also tell about that if someone is destined to die by destiny at a particular age, yet his life can be given back to him? What do we learn from this seemingly counter power struggle of Yamaraj and Shukracharya? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very interesting question. And it's an opportunity for us to dive deeper and become more Krishna conscious. In the Chatu Sloki of Bhagavad Gita, the first sloka, 10.8, Aham Savasya PRABHU. I'm the source of all spiritual and material. Krishna is saying, everything emanates from me. And to substantiate that in relationship to your question, every authority, every personality that is acting under the design of God can express certain percentage or certain degree of the qualities of God. So we can see that the Dakshina Krishna and Balaram gave to Sanapandamuni was to bring back his son that has died many years ago. So is that not substantiated by, it is a power of God, but is custodied and expressed by some devotee or some emissaries of God. Shukracharya is acting in his capacity because that is where he's been allocated to act as guru to the demons. And he's not acting on his own whim and caprices. He's representing the authority of God in reality. Because it is the same God, like you can see from this story of Kasyapa Muni. Kasyapa Muni is a Prajapati who gave birth to the demigods and is also the source of the demons. Just like you have in the Abrahamic faith, that Abraham is the same father of Isaac and Ishmael. But today, what do you see in the world? There's constant rancor, rifts, okay? Forgetting that it is only an expression of the plans and design of God. So Shukracharya is acting. Yamaraj is no less in capacity, because if Krishna designs that he will act in that capacity, he will also do, because they are representing Krishna. So we should not compare or minimize any authority because at particular given time they are not exhibiting. If given that they have to exhibit that, they can also do. It's just like he said that one who worships Krishna very intensely, he is blessed with a gift of 3 color gyan. He can know the past, he can know the present, he can know the future. In the same way, if you look at the purport of Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 7, when Krishna was saying, Mama Evamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, Mana Sastrani Driyani, Prakriti Stanika Shate, in the purport to that text, Prabhupada was mentioning that as fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the living entities also have fragmental portion of his qualities. Of which independence is one. It's not limited to this. Many qualities, including the capacity to bring to life. So it is only because the opportunity has not arisen, they can be exhibited. And it goes further to say in the purport, independence is one. Every living entity as an individual soul has the personal individuality and a minute form of independence. Listen to this. By misuse of that independence, one becomes a conditioned soul. And by proper use of independence is always liberated. So this is the 2 paradigms. Whatever you use that is of God can condition you or it will liberate you. I don't know if that gives insight into your question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It certainly does. It certainly does. Thank you so much for the beautiful answer coming from the scriptures. Anyone else with something to ask or share, please? Prabhuji, right, you really said Bali Maharaj is one of the 12 Mahajans. See.
I didn't say, I read the scripture.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you referenced. Yeah, he's one of the 12 Mahajans. And usually when we say Mahajans, it means they are saintly people.
Authorities in devotional service.
Yes. Here we see Bali Maharaj coming from the family of the demons, even though his ancestors were devotees, because he had Shukracharya as a spiritual master. But he disobeyed the orders of the spiritual master and yet became a Mahajan. He became a Mahajan for disobeying his spiritual master. So what do we learn from such? Because I remember you also re-emphasized how dangerous it is for devotees to disobey the orders or the instructions of the spiritual master. It's one of the 10 offenses against the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Now, but here we see somebody disobeying the instructions of the spiritual master. And from that disobedience, he gains this status of becoming a Mahajan. What do we learn from that?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very interesting question. It's just like the first question that was asked by Tribunal Prabhu. It's just similar to it. When the Subodhini, it is mentioned as a note, principle of bhakti. Principle of bhakti. It mentions Shukracharya being a person of material world, did not know the principles of a devotee. Please take note of that. Shukracharya, being a person of this material world, did not know the principles of a devotee. A devotee is determined to serve the Supreme Lord to his full satisfaction. Anything that hampers such determination should certainly be rejected. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya vajanam. Whatever we do should be for the pleasure of God. Yes, seemingly Bali disobeyed Shukracharya, but for a higher purpose to please Vishnu. And that is what earned him all the benediction that he got from Vamanadi. Okay, it's for a higher principle. And it's a great risk. But if we want to imitate Bali to disobey our guru, we should be sure, you should be able to put on a scale what is the benefit that will accrue from this kind of disobedience? And what do you stand to gain? Bali Maharaj knew, because of his lineage, devotee begets devotee. He knew that the ultimate goal of life is to please the Supreme Personality of God. Just like he said in 1:2:13, Atopumbi Dijasresra, Vanashrama Vibhagasa, Swano Sisasya Dharmasya, Samsidi Haritoshana. That the ultimate perfection of Vanashram is to please the Supreme Personality of God. So whatever we follow and whatever we don't follow, look at here, he said, anything that hampers such determination should certainly be rejected. So Shukracharya was a cog in the wheel. And so Bali rejected for a higher purpose. Does that give any insight to your question?
Oh, yeah, it does. But it still leaves me with a question because I think it was just yesterday we were talking about intelligence when His Grace Vanachari gave class. And I think it was Kavi Kanapur Prabhu who asked a question related to intelligence, that Krishna provides intelligence. And I once asked, I think it was His Holiness Chandra Mali Maharaj, a question. I believe that sometimes the disciple may have to disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. This sounds very strange and, excuse me to say, very crazy for me to say that sometimes one will have to disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. And I asked this question, and Chandra Mali Maharaj was saying, yes, it could be, but it requires intelligence. And so I am thinking, and I'm saying this to get your opinion in regards to the scriptures, Guru Sadhu. I'm thinking that sometimes we read from the scriptures where the Supreme Lord will reveal himself or reveal something to somebody and tell that devotee, keep this to yourself. Do not tell anybody. And yet we know about it. That means that even though the Supreme Lord told this person to keep it, do not share with anybody, they ended up sharing with us. And the Supreme Lord became happy with them. The Supreme Lord did not curse them because they revealed. So I am thinking that sometimes the spiritual master may want to test the disciples' intelligence by telling them, do not do this. But actually, he wants you to do it. Am I right in thinking this way?
Hare Krishna. It's a very technical question. And he also has technical answer.
Okay.
Ramanuja Acharya is one example of what you just asked. And the lesson we learned today of Vamanadev, Aditi, and Kashyapa. Kashyapa Muni, when Aditi was pleased, when Vishnu was pleased with Aditi after the Payovrata vrat, he told her, I will come as your child. Do not tell this to anybody. Okay? This is the same thing the guru of the personality I mentioned earlier told him, I have the solution for the suffering of all living entities.
Yeah.
And I'm giving it to you. Please do not give it to anybody.
Yes.
Now,
I remember this story.
This is guru-disciple relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? Or this disciple orientation. Now we said there are four classes of devotees. Look at the statement of the guru. I have medicine for the suffering of all living entities. And I'm giving it to you. But don't give it to anybody. And he said that the first class devotee, he knows the heart of his guru.
Yeah.
The first class devotee. The guru doesn't need to tell him before he asks the heart of the guru. The second class devotee, he acts diligently based on what he's told. The third class devotee, he obeys with reluctance and sometimes he perverts the instruction. He gave example, guru may say, give me water. And he'll go and bring milk or juice for the guru.
Mm.
He's obeying, but he's whimsical.
Mm.
And the fourth class devotee, even when he has been told, he's so reluctant, he doesn't do, and he flaunts the instruction. The fourth class devotee can be rejected, but the first class devotee is approved of because he's acting the mind of the guru. Okay? So when the Acharya gave the name and came back to his guru, the guru was very pleased because that is what the guru wants.
Yeah.
So we have to take scriptural references and we don't have to act according to our own whims and caprices. Because in Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, text 23, he says, Ya Shastra Vidim Usrijya, Vatate Kama Karata, Na Samsidi Abapnoti, Na Sokam, Na Parangati. He who discards scriptural injunction and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor supreme destination.
Yeah.
So I said it's technical. The question is technical, answer is also technical. So I don't have an opinion of mine. I only have reference from the scripture.
Yeah. Well, the reference of the scriptures is so good. Thank you so much for sharing with us the scriptural references to the answer to my question, which I really, really appreciate. Thank you so much. Anyone else with something to share before we call it a day? It's very interesting. Today is the last day of the week, but the beginning of a new month, of the last month of the year.
And the marathon month, Christmas marathon.
Yeah, the Christmas marathon. Oh, we have His Grace, Shuman Vara Acharya Prabhu. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
My obeisances, Ganga Prabhu. All glories to
Krishna Prabhu, all glories to Guru and Garanga, all glories to you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I couldn't follow perfectly interruptions, but the last question and answer beautifully discussed. But I have a contribution to make to that. Sadhu Prabhu was repeating again and again that Bali Maharaj became Mahajan for disobeying his guru. That is not true. Bali Maharaj became a Mahajan for fulfilling one of the 9 principles of devotional service, which is Atman Nivedana. He did not become Mahajan for disobeying the order of Guru. He became Mahajan for Atman Nivedana, surrendering everything. That was what qualified him as Mahajan. So all those we heard of as great souls, Mahajana, they all fulfill one of the 9 processes of devotional service, not contrary to that. So that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. You're on point, precise, and further than that is added to qualifying for Mahajan. He was also benedicted that he will, it is a Vamana Dev that became the Manvantara for this time. And he will achieve, Bali will achieve in the name Manvantara the position of Indra. So that is also added to qualifying with Atman Nivedana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you for the correction, Shimavara Acharya. But I still believe that even though Vamana Dev became a Mahajan because he surrendered.
Bali Maharaj.
Sorry, Bali Maharaj became Mahajan because he surrendered everything to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But what led to that surrender was a disobedience to his guru. So that still has connection to the surrendering process, which we are told to not do, to disobey the orders of the instructions of this, or the order or the instructions of the spiritual master. So I still think that even though he did not become Mahajan specifically for disobeying the instructions of his guru, but it is because he surrendered everything to the Supreme Lord. But what led to the surrender along the line was the disobedience of the spiritual master. And that is why I still hold to this as we speak now, that sometimes the spiritual master may even knowingly ask the disciple to do something which he does not want him to do, but to test his intelligence. So I don't know if you want to share something to what I just said. But I very much appreciate it that you clarified that the reason he is a Mahajan is because he surrendered to Krishna.
Yeah, with permission. Sorry. Okay. I thought you were referring to me. So.
But Prabhu, if you have more addition, you can. I have something to add also.
Okay.
Right. Actually, the way you're stressing disobedience can be taken otherwise. So we have to be very careful about that. The disobeying guru is allowed only on certain conditions, which is given in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, text 4 and text 5. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned clearly under what conditions the guru can be disobeyed or rejected. If he loses his mind, if he acts abominably, or if he thinks he's God. So, of course, the spiritual master is not God. He's supposed to lead us to God. So we should not mistake that. We should not start thinking Guru is God. And then we have to just do anything, everything he says. We have the right to analyze and examine whether it goes along with the scriptures. You know? So one should not think, the way you're speaking, Prabhu, one should not think that, oh, maybe the Guru is just testing me, maybe I should disobey him and see, I mean, that kind of mentality might be very dangerous, So we should understand that we cannot disobey the order of the spiritual master unless if it is against the scripture, if he's acting like he's God, or is acting abominably. So those are the conditions when the Guru can be disobeyed or rejected. So I just want to emphasize that so that people don't think that, well, I can always see whether the Guru is testing me, let me disobey and see. That is a dangerous mentality. It's not, that is not how to test. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu Sahadev, you were quoting Srivas and Achari's class and Prabhu Kavip's question yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
And I said that I was referring to this Chatusloki. The 10 Chatusloki says, Tesam Satata Yuktanam Vajantam Priti Puvaka Dadami Buddhi Yogantam Yenamam Payantite. To those who are constantly devoted to me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So in this Bali Vamana Dev Lila, Vamana Dev himself, along with other things he told Aditi, he said, I will bewilder him to disobey his guru.
Good.
Are you understanding this?
Yeah.
Because he wants to bless him and he wants him to achieve a higher height that he has designed. This is God's own design. So if we do, on the contrary, act according to our own whim and caprices and justify it, it may be our delusion. So Bali disobeying Sukracharya is not a willful thing. It's just like Shiva himself went and said, I want to see that your Mohini Murti form. Shiva is said to be the master of the senses. He knows all the 8,400,000 yoga system. Perfect. But when he behold the Mohini form of God, he discharged semen, even before Parvati, his wife. And it was clear, wow, this is how the illusory energy of God works. So these concepts are not what we can publicly profess or utter because it may be misleading for some people.
Yeah.
But we can say them and substantiate them like I'm saying now. It is mentioned that Vamana Dev told Aditi, this is what I will do to Bali. And he will disobey his guru. And if you remember when Indra went to Brihaspati to ask him what to do, he told him, go and hide. And he asked him, for how long will we hide for? And he said, when he offends a Brahmana, he will lose all his possession.
Yeah.
So it's already preordained. It is predestined. And it happened. So it's not like he just woke up one day and said, today I'll disobey Guru. No. So we should be very introspective in our experiences and be able to quantify them or measure them based on scriptural evidences. Then we can justify them. This is my own input.
Well, thank you so much, His Grace Shimabara Acharya and our revered speaker, Sri Ganga Prasad Prabhu. Thank you all for your answers and clarifications. So we go to His Grace Kavi Kanapu, Mr. Smiley Man.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Tada Pranam, please accept my obeisances.
I reciprocate, accept mine too.
All glories to you, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna,
So,
Prabhu.
my own question is regarding when you mentioned during the course of your lecture how when Indra disobeys, disrespect his guru, and he lost everything. So my question is that why did the guru also take offense? He's supposed to be a pure devotee, no? Why did he have to take offense? Because he took offense, that is why he lost everything. Why did he, as a pure person, guru, he's supposed not to take offense? So please throw more light on this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very interesting and intelligent question. The answer to your question will come from guru-disciple relationship. What does the guru owe the disciple? If the guru fails to teach the disciple, he's undoing the disciple. And guru is to teach us in such a way that we get purified of the anarthas that we are custodying. It necessarily does not mean that guru is taking offense. No. Brihaspati, yes, it's just like what happened with the heavenly damsels when they went to Astavakra and begged him that they want to have Krishna as their husband. And he blessed them. And then again, as they were leaving him, they saw him walking away and they said he was coughing and walking. And they laughed at him. And immediately he knocked them, curse. Okay, so you'll be thinking, oh, but he's transcendental, why should he be angry? Just like you asked. But it was one to teach proper code of conduct. And number two also, because he has to bless them. Narad Muni calls Ujofini Damodar Saka, he calls the two sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Alakuwa. The ladies in the pool with them became shy, reserved, and tried to cover themselves. But those guys were full of pride that they did not budge. So Narad Muni cursed them. It's not because he's taking offense, but he's teaching right conduct. Though he cursed them, still he blessed them. Asavraka cursed them, and still he blessed them. That they will be kidnapped. And then Krishna will come and save them. So if the personality really took offense because of his exalted position, then he may not bless them again, but a devotee, one of the 26 qualities is forgiving. So even if he took offense, forgive them. But then he has to teach the lesson. That's why it's guru. Otherwise, who will teach the disciple? Why do we call disciple? Disciple is one who has devoted himself to take discipline. That's why he's a disciple. So Brihaspati did not feel offended for himself, but he felt that being my disciple, a higher behavior is expected of him. And he has to learn it. And you can see when they lost everything and they went incognito, they themselves did not like it. Their mother did not like it. So this is what I can contribute. If somebody has something else, he can also add. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you, His Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu. So we go to Her Grace Narayani Devi, please, you may unmute. Narayani.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Ganga Prabhu. Thank you for your wonderful lectures.
Hare Krishna,
I wanted to say something about what Sahadev was saying about Bali. What I want Sahadev to know is Bali was acting on the path of righteousness. Although the guru knows that Bali have to fulfill the promise that he made to Banadev, but because the guru realized that he is Vishnu, so he wanted Bali to change his mind. So Bali override his guru because he wanted to be on the path of truthness and righteousness. That's why Bali did that.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Well taken. Thank you. Shri Ganga Prasad Prabhu, do you have something to say in regards to her comment? Otherwise, we go to Hari Chakra.
You can progress. She mentioned her contribution, and it is worthy of note.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Hari Chakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Ganga. Thank you.
Dandawa Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry, what is Ganga's title?
He is a chancellor.
Today he actually came out with the chancellor like everything. So thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to also make a little bit contribution because I think Mother Narayani was even mentioning it now, but the answer to the question that they asked about Bali Maharaj being a Mahajan, whether how he disobeyed his spiritual master. I think the answer is found in the text itself. The answer to that question is found in the text itself. So if you can bring that text out, was it in the text or in the paper? Now I'm getting old. So the text is where Prabhupada stated that when Bali heard,
yeah.
Can
you want me to read it?
That?
You want me to read
when
it?
Bali heard yeah, Prabhu.
Okay. He said, Bali Maharaj did not agree to abide by the order of his spiritual master when he understood that the beggar was Vishnu himself.
You see, so even though Bali had already been following his guru's instruction, but this simple place, he said, when he understood, because it was the guru who had given him that people. Other than that, because he said when Bali understood that the beggar was not just any ordinary beggar, but it was Vishnu himself. So otherwise, Bali was ready to surrender that 3 steps of land to Vishnu. So if even his guru is advising him that, look, this person is going to take everything from me, then Bali was thinking, as long as he's Vishnu, then I'm ready to give it to him. Let him take if he wants to take it. So I guess that emphasis there, that statement there, it means a lot. Because no matter what we do, if we are ready to give him to Vishnu, then it doesn't matter whether your spiritual master is advising you against it or not. So I think that supports what Narayani Mataji was also saying, that because Bali was because Bali had if you actually follow the the Garuda Puran. Bali wanted to come in contact with Vishnu so bad, despite all circumstances. He had desired, he desired so much to come in contact with Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Yeah. So when the spiritual master revealed to him that this person is actually Vishnu, then immediately he understood that he has gotten the opportunity to have that divine contact with Vishnu. So I think that actually is what made Bali who he is today. That his name has sustained, and his position being a Mahajan. That the spiritual master, the tip of that he heard from the spiritual master is that this is Vishnu. That propelled him to give everything to Vishnu. So this is a little I just wanted to just keep it.
Thank you very much, Harichakra Prabhu. That is very, very appropriate. And Rupa Goswami had mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, Anyabila Sutta Sanyam, Gyana Kamadianu Vritam, Anu Kulena Krishna, Anu Silyanam. As Krishna wants it, that is the goal of a devotee. Every other thing is inconsequential as long as what Krishna wants and how Krishna wants it. So Bali also acted in this capacity and is also part of why he's a Mahajan. As Vishnu wants it and when he wants it. Krishna Anusilyanam. Thank you for that contribution, Prabhu.
Well, Hare Krishna, so we go to His Grace. Govinda Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
All right, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Dhanava Pranams, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your wonderful lectures. Yeah. Prabhu, I would like you to clarify these two situations where, in the Jambu Dweep, there is a Jambu tree. And this Jambu tree, when it falls, when the tree falls, it forms, the juice and these fruits. When it falls, it runs like a river. And aside or the edges of this river is gold. There's gold aside the river Jambu. And you also made mention of Lord Shiva when he was chasing Mohini Mukti, discharging semen. And it is understood that this semen of Shiva turned to gold, in which the people today are enjoying everywhere. So sometimes we hear certain things from the scriptures, and that's why Krishna says, if one understands me, my appearance and disappearance, then that person qualifies to come back to me. Because some of these statements are very, very difficult to understand. That the semen of Shiva turns to gold. In the whole universe, there's gold everywhere. So does the semen spread to the entire universe? And then what about the Jambu tree also bringing out gold? I would like you to clarify this.
Well, I may not have the qualification to clarify, but I can make some contributions.
Okay.
From that same Upanishad, things are manifest. Even the creation, they did not all manifest at the same time. They did not manifest at the same time. The creation of Lord Brahma was not automatic, that everything just came at once. They came at different times. So it takes the benediction of our guru or an acharya to be able to make us understand these seeming contradictions. So the Shiva semen does not represent the totality of the manifestation of gold. And so the manifestation of other gold came in their own time, and it does not limit itself to just being the semen of Lord Shiva. So that's why I said I don't have the qualification to answer you, but from the unfoldment of creation, we see that different things manifest at different times. So that is one instance. And it's like referral also. Shiva's semen, gold existed even before Shiva secreted semen. Isn't it?
Well, I've not read that anywhere. Maybe, have you read it somewhere that we can go and read and dive deep into it? Because that's the understanding. That is the understanding that
gold existed before
Shiva's semen. Yeah.
Yes, that is not a lie. The semen became mounds of gold, but it does not represent the totality of the gold. It's not written in where you have read also that Shiva's semen became gold, and all the gold that is in creation is Shiva's semen. I have not read that either.
Hare Krishna.
That is my disqualification. And if somebody has a qualification, he can bail us out.
No, GANGA PRASAD PRABHU.
Yeah.
I think what you are saying, it makes sense in the sense that I think the advent of Hirayaksha,
yeah,
the advent of Hirayaksha, and Shiva going after Mohini, which one came first? I guess Hirayaksha's advent came first, right?
Yes, he explored gold. Why is called Hiranyaksha?
Yeah.
He explored gold.
He was exploring gold.
Yes.
So which shows that the gold was already there before Mohini's advent even came.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your contributions. And
well, before we conclude this, I think we cannot take it just like that. Hiranyaksha pastimes and Mohini Mukti pastime, or the channel of the ocean. We have to find out which came first before we conclude. Which came first? Is it the Mohini Mukti pastimes or Hiranyaksha's pastimes? And from where can we make a reference to?
The Hiranyaksha pastime came before the Mohini Mukti pastime. That much I know. Well,
it is there. It is there in Bhagavata. If you read the incarnations of the first canto, chapter 3, before he said Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all these incarnations are about expansions of expansion. And the chapter we are reading also now, the incarnation with specific duties. If you see the chronology, Hiranyaksha or Varaha Avatar came before Vamana Dev.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's there in the scripture.
All right, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, His Grace, Kavi, please, you may unmute. Kavi,
yes. Just want to add a little contribution that because that Lord Shiva semen turning to gold, just to tell you how valuable this great personality, like Lord Shiva, his semen is valuable. You know how valuable the semen is. Doesn't mean that the gold, the totality of gold is produced from his semen. Just to tell us how valuable the semen of Lord Shiva is. It's not ordinary. After all, from that semen also, a child was was given back to. So
Yes.
like that.
Ayapa.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sri Ganga Prasad Prabhu, go ahead.
No, I'm just thanking Kavi Prabhu for his contribution and thanking you too for hosting us.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you for blessing us. Like we said earlier, today is Friday, is the end of the week. So we pray to their lordships for their protection and guidance throughout the weekend so that we come back next week with much more refreshed energy and enthusiasm to hear about Krishna and his transcendental devotees more and more, and try to use those examples in our own lives so that in the future, like our speaker was saying, Bali Maharaj wanted his name to be in the annals of history, even though we may not want it to be like that. But the mere fact that we try to live according to the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we may be remembered, and more importantly, might have contributed to others' progress back home, back to Godhead. So on that note, we're going to humbly request the assembled Vaishnava devotees to all kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered teacher, His Grace.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Rama Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Pancha
Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa
Namaskar,
Sindhubhya
Kripa Sindhu
Cha,
Vacha, Patitanam
Vaishnaveyo,
Pavanyo
Vaishnaveyo,
Vaishnaveyo.
Namo Namah. Nanda Koti Vaishnava Vrinde Ki.
Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu Ki.